there, LEGO fans. I'd like to welcome you to this week's build, where we'll be assembling Jurassic Park T-Rex Rampage. Kit number 75936, 3,120 pieces, and as you can see on the box, we're going to be assembling LEGO's biggest ever T-Rex, standing in front of the iconic Jurassic Park gates, and that all looks like it's going to be an epic display piece. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how that all looks. But first, as always, we need to get this thing unboxed, get this thing built, and then we can have a closer look at Jurassic Park T-Rex Rampage. With LEGO having released many Jurassic Park kits over the years, there's no shortage of LEGO dinosaurs out there. But most of these are play kits, where dinosaurs don't have anywhere near the grandeur or majesticness of this massive T-Rex. Add to that the giant stone and wood gate, and you've got two of the most iconic and recognizable symbols from the movie that launched the franchise. Starting with the T-Rex, this fierce dino stands about 8 inches tall when he's leveled out, as you see here. With its massive head lowered closer to the ground, and a quite substantial tail straightened out to the back to counterbalance all this weight. With its ferocious jaw lined with sharp teeth, nostrils right at the tip of the snout, a tiny little eye mounted at an angle that points just a little bit forward because this is a predator, and those tiny, spindly, nearly useless arms with two razor-sharp claws at the tips. Moving a little further down, we've got the muscular T-Rex legs, which are very much needed to support the huge weight of this dinosaur, with its really beefy thighs, big dew claw right behind the ankle, and those feet. I wouldn't want to get in the way of those feet, which are large enough to crush a full-grown human, and also have their own large, intimidating talons at the tips of each of the toes. At the hip, this T-Rex has some very robust and stiff joints, allowing it to have the full range of motion from fully standing up to leaning over, snacking on humans. And at the tail, loaded with about a dozen joints, is capable of doing this very satisfying full sweep from one side to the other and back. Finishing off where we started, at the head, it's mounted on one ball joint, giving the neck a little bit of a range of motion to look a little bit left, right, up and down, but it's not able to hold much of these positions, so it's always going to be tilting down a little bit. Now to the gate, which stands at about 16 inches or 42 centimeters tall, and is exactly how I remember it from the movie. Large logo front and center, huge wooden doors, flanked on either side by 6 torches, a whole bunch of foliage at the base, and through the center, we have that little track that the Jurassic Park cars were attached to, and the ruts on either side of that, caused by the Jeeps as they roll through. Flipping it around to the other side, we have a whole bunch of little scenes from the movie that have been built into the back for us to explore. Starting on the top right, first thing we find is a toilet. I don't know. I'm just going to move on. Just beneath that, we have Dennis Nerdy's computer station, where he's got his 3 screens, a little keyboard, and a swivel chair. And for the final setup on the right, we have the stage set for the power shed scene. Moving on over to the top left, the first thing we find is a little mudslide, with a little fake shaving cream canister within it that Dennis lost, which was actually filled with stolen dino DNA. Just beneath that, we have John Hammond's dining room with a bowl full of ice cream, and I'm not sure what this big green thing is. And then we have the bunker scene, which has a little bed for Ian to lay down on. Finally, all the way on top, just to the right of the center, we find a little dino nest with a hatched egg within, which is located right beside the door controls. By rolling these little rollers, you can move the 2 doors in unison, open and closed, which is really good for creating that dramatic effect. I made a little modification to the mechanism here by, on either side, inserting this little plastic pin, which helps limit the range of motion, because if you don't, it was really too easy to, when you're closing the doors, swing them a little too far and have the doors open the wrong way on the other side. It's not a perfect fix, because it doesn't fully limit the range of motion as much as I would like, but it's definitely a marked improvement. I also thought it worth mentioning that the side panels on either side of the gate are only loosely attached by one hinge at the top. I find it a little bit disappointing that they're not more securely attached in place. Put these 2 together, and you've got a pretty epic looking display piece, and you have all the visual aids you need to argue the point that if they made the gates this large, they were clearly planning on letting the dinosaurs out at some point. And now to the minifigures, where we have Ray Arnold, Alan Grant, Ellie Sattler, Dennis Nerdy, who's got a pretty cool alternate face sprayed with dinosaur goo, a baby dinosaur, John Hammond, and last but not least, Ian Malcolm. To display these guys, they have their own display stand, with a little infographic behind them with a bunch of stats on the T-Rex herself. I think it's pretty clear that the main purpose of this kit was to be displayed. It's large, it gets a lot of attention, the T-Rex is sure to be loved by all, and the Jurassic Park gate is quite iconic and highly recognizable, so sure to grab attention. As a play kit, I'm going to give this one a pretty decent score, because there's definitely fun to be had here. The gate, not so much. I mean, it's a little bit of fun to open and close the door for dramatic effect, but it gets old pretty quick. Whereas the T-Rex, she's large, she's going to smash through whatever she wants and strike fear into the little plastic hearts of any of the minifigures that happen to be in her path. Or maybe they actually tame this fantastic beast and turn it into a form of transportation, with many saddles on her back, giving seats for many minifigures, so they can take advantage of the carpool lane. With a bucket of Lego and an active imagination, there's certainly a lot of fun to be had here. And for parts to reuse, this set scores quite well. Nothing too fantastic or unusual in here, but a lot of good solid pieces that I'd be happy to reuse in the future. I'm not planning on taking the T-Rex apart, she's just too cool. But the gate, a lot of people love it and I've seen it on display in a lot of photos, but I think the parts in here are more interesting to me than the gate itself. So, to the parts bin, it will go, eventually. But if you do plan on keeping yours assembled, I do recommend you not do as I did and pick it up from the archway, because it will not hold and it will fall and smash into many pieces. But, as I've heard it said, one of the great things about Lego is you can always take it apart, but you can never really break it.